We're here with a Burgundy producer today. So which estate are you from?
My name is Armelle Rion, and the name of the winery is the family of my husband. The name of the winery is Bernard Rion. We are located in Vosne-Romanée. Vosne-Romanée is in Côte de Nuit, where we produce mostly red wine. And thus we produce 80% of red wine in our winery and 20% of white. When we speak about red wine, we speak about Pinot Noir, of course. 100% Pinot Noir in our estate, in our winery. And we plant only Pinot Noir from a long time in Bourgogne. In fact, we plant Pinot Noir from the law, from the Duke of Bourgogne at the year 1395. And the law, it was the first law in the world about wine or food. And the Duke write, if you plant Gamay, you have fine. Gamay is another stock. And we continue to plant Pinot Noir and only Pinot Noir. We can say we have Pinot Noir in the blood.
And on your labels you state vieux vignes, meaning old wines. But you have some very old wines.
In fact, we like to have old wine because the old wine gives the best grapes. We prefer the smallest than the largest. Of course, it's not good for the quantity, but it's better for the quality. Our vineyard is, in average, 80 years old. The youngest is 60 years old. The oldest is more than 120. So with that, the roots are going far away in the soil. And in fact, we have the through element from the soil and the subsoil. It's possible to find some little roots at more than 5 meters. So with that, we have very small grapes, more concentrate with the sugar. That is really interesting to have the terroir.
Because there's also a very good concentration in your wine, and that's because of these old wines.
Alors it's because we have old wine is more different for the terroir, but it's not only that, it's because the soil and the subsoil are really specific. Each place will give something different than another place, because, for example, in Volnay, the terroir is different than in Nuit Saint-Georges. So Volnay will be the more delicate and the more feminine style, elegant from Côte de Beaune, like a Beaune town. And Nuit Saint-Georges will be more full body, perfect to serve with meat, like beef, for example. And we are in the middle of Côte de Nuit, where is really the greatest place for this sort of wine.
And the story about the Rion family, it's been in Burgundy for quite a bit.
Alors, we are, I think the family is in Burgundy from any time, so we can't say exactly when they begin to be in Burgundy. But in fact, the great-grandfather of my husband came to Vosne-Romanée in 1896. He came from the next village, 3 kilometers. And he liked to play cards with friends. Is why he came to Vosne-Romanée to continue to have a new job and to plant vineyard. And he begins the estate years after years, because it was not in one day. And with our daughters, Nelly, Alice, Melissa, we continue the tradition and we make the wine in the Vosne-Romanée village.
What do you think about the last 10 vintages in Burgundy?
In fact, in Burgundy, we are in northeast of France, and it's not so easy to have every year great quality. It was not so easy now. It's warmer, so we have the harvest earlier. September, anytime we have the harvest, and it's easier to have enough sugar. To make a great wine, it's necessary to have a lot of sun, and the summer are warmer, and it's better for Burgundy wine. Of course, sometimes we have the problem with the frost, because the winter is smaller now, and so the spring begin, and the buds begin to go out, and at this moment, we are anxious about the frost. Is the biggest problem now. But if we have no frost, the quality of the wine is better and better every year, because we have harvest September beginning and have good ripe. It's easy to have the ripeness of the fruit. We test the seed to be sure about that, and when the seed begin to be brown and crunchy, it's time to harvest. And we have time to wait if it's not completely ripe, because the nights are still fresh in Burgundy. We have never more than 20 degrees in the night. It's good for the acidity. And we have the sugar already It's about 13 degrees of alcohol. That is perfect for Burgundy wine. For when we like a wine to age, it's necessary to have not too strong alcohol to keep the balance, but 13 degrees is perfect.
And if you go back to, say, 2015, what was your thoughts on the 2015 vintage?
We can say all the vintage in 5 are good. From 85, because 75 was another, 85 was on the greatest vintage of the last century, and we have the 95, the 2005, and the 2015 was really perfect, and it's really a wine to drink now, because it's 10 years old, and it's really perfect to have all the complex maturity of the wine, and we can serve that particularly with a plate of meat and strong food, even the winter food, with sauce like bœuf bourguignon is really perfect, or with a plate of cheese. The 15 is really a perfect moment to drink it. And if we continue with the 16, it was a great vintage. 17, a little more approachable for everybody, very nice vintage. 18, completely ripe and incredible vintage. 19, formidable. 20 was more complicated because it was really hot in 20, and we have big concentration, so the wine was really a little darker, but completely mature with the taste of the black sherry. And the 21 was a little more complex because, in fact, in 21, it was frost for some place, but not for everywhere. And so we have enough grapes. On the 21, we have the summer, a little rainy, so very fresh. But at the end, we have a very, very nice weather at the end of the August. And we have a ripe vintage with a spicy taste. Actually, I love the 21 with this spicy taste. And it's really, we can say, a classic vintage. After we have the 22, fabulous. We have a really ripe vintage and very approachable with everybody. 23 was hot too, and we have a nice vintage, a nice and perfect vintage with a lot of grapes. It was a dream vintage for the wine grower. 24 is more complicated for us because unfortunately 24 was really humid and fresh in June. We lost a lot of grapes, so we have very, very small quantity of bottle for 24. And for 25, we just finished the harvest, and it's fabulous already. Not so much, not so big quantity, but very, very good quality with a very dark color too. It's really fantastic.
And 25 was quite a warm summer in Burgundy?
So it was okay. We have not a big problem. We love to have hot weather. We prefer the sun than the rain.
But its acidity is nice and...
We have enough acidity inside. We have the good balance because we have no more than 20 degrees in the night, even this year.
Talk to us a bit about Côte de Beaune.
So Côte de Beaune produces the more famous white wine of the world, we can say that. And we have some very interesting red wine. Us, we produce in Côte de Beaune Meursault. Meursault is really interesting because it's really a buttery taste and really round to serve with the fish and with the creamy sauce. It's really nice. And we have some red wine like Volnay, where it's more really elegant wine. Even the red wine we can serve with fish here in Norway. It's really nice, particularly with the salmon. We love red wine from Bourgogne with salmon. And what we have in Côte de Beaune, we produce some Saint-Romain, where is a heiter. So at this place is more mineral. So we have the good balance with the minerality and with the sugar. Often Meursault is really characteristic to be buttery and to have the taste of the honey a little more round. And the Chassagne and Puligny are a little more on the stone, so a little more chalky, or so the taste will be more mineral often. And for the both, we consider it's interesting to age, but we speak about 5-6 years aging. If you age more, you have to go really on the greatest appellation. I recommend more to age red wine than to age white wine.
And how many wines do you make in total?
About 30 different wine in Côte de Nuit and Côte de Beaune. So totally we have 50 plots on 50 kilometer long different places. So it's a big logistic, but it's usual. And we have nothing to blend because we have only one sort of grapes. Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and some Aligoté.
Talk a little bit about Aligoté.
We produce some Bourgogne Aligoté. It's really interesting because it's really fresh and completely easy wine, easy to drink, every time open to serve with everything. So we serve that mostly with oyster or like a glass of aperitif. And it's another variety of grapes than Chardonnay, more lively. Chardonnay will be more round. For Aligoté, we age in a stainless vat. For Chardonnay, we use only barrel.
And then moving on to Côte de Nuit.
Alors, Côte de Nuit produce a more fabulous red wine. We can speak about that. We have the luck to be located in Vosne-Romanée. And Vosne-Romanée produce the more famous Grand Cru of the world. And we have not only the Grand Cru, we have some very interesting places like our vineyard next La Tâche. We have Les Chaumes, Vosne-Romanée Premier Cru Les Chaumes, and even some Vosne-Romanée village are every time very elegant. Everybody loves Vosne-Romanée because it's so sweet without sugar. It's delicate and the vanilla taste, nothing aggress the palate, everything have to be very nice.
And going a bit south to Nuit Saint-Georges.
Alors, Nuit Saint-Georges is every time a little more, we say masculine style because a little stronger. In fact, we serve more the Nuit Saint-Georges with the meat, with the red meat, and with the eggplant. It's really perfect for the vegetarian too. And Nuit Saint-Georges is just a little of the north of Vosne-Romanée because all our vineyard is between Vosne-Romanée and Nuit Saint-Georges. Will give full body wine.
And a bit more texture maybe, a bit more tannins sometimes.
Yes, the tannin have to be a little more present, but we have vineyard really next Vosne-Romanée, and even with the style of the Nuit Saint-Georges, we have delicate wine even in Nuit Saint-Georges. And for all our wine, we use the same method. So we harvest by hand, of course, and we destem completely. We keep only the berry, and we use the traditional system of the vat with the concrete to be slow with our job. And after 2 weeks of fermentation, we press delicately with a pneumatic press. It's like a balloon inside, and we press at 2 kilos. The seed is never scratching. With that, we have the very delicate tannin. And after that, we barrel the wine for about 15 months, 12 to 18, before to bottle. In fact, we taste the wine before to decide when we bottle. Every month, all the family taste the wine, all the wine, and we decide if it's ready or not. When it's ready, we close everything good in the bottle. And it's ready to drink for everybody.
And going further north to Chambol?
Alors, Chambol is more located on the stone. So we are on the hill, so it's more stony. When the soil is more stony, the wine is a little more, entre guillemets, lighter. So it's more elegant wine, delicate, even floral wine. We find the violet inside, and even the vanilla taste is very delicate.
And just going further north?
North to Marsannay, for example. If we go to Gevrey-Chambertin, to Marsannay, at this place we have really more, we say full body wine, and we serve that more with the game, you understand? With the meat or with the game, because it's stronger, more personality.
And you have Clos de Vougeot as well.
We are lucky to produce some Clos de Vougeot. Not a lot of bottle per year, but 3 barrels about. So with that, we produce a wine with a big structure. When you drink it, at the beginning, it's a really structured wine. We say puissant, strong, and after delicate in the middle of the mouth with a very, very long taste. Alors, Clos de Vougeot need maybe 5 years old before to drink. So I recommend to wait the wine after 5 years before to drink. And of course, we serve Clos de Vougeot with a really famous plate of cheese. It's perfect.
But you mentioned earlier that you really enjoy drinking wines from the 80s now.
Actually, we drink a lot of 80s. We love to drink the 1985. So it's really complex. And we have taste of, even in old wine, we have taste of young wine, like the licorice. We find that even in the oldest bottle. 85 is already 40 years old, and for us it's still young, because the potential of aging this bottle is perfect. Alors, only for the Premier Cru and Grand Cru. We have a lot of Nuit Saint-Georges Premier Cru, 85, and Clos de Vougeot, 85, and it's really perfect to drink for special event like the birthday of my daughter.
And how long would you normally age Bourgogne Rouge?
Alors, us, we age our wine a lot because we love the taste of the old wine. If you like to be on the fruit, it's before 10, 12 years maximum. So to keep the taste of the sherry, the black currant, the red currant and everything. If you like to have the more complex from the forest and with the different taste of the leaves, Earl Grey tea, the tobacco, it's really complex, but we need sometimes 20 years for that. And after, when the wine is able to be aging more than 20 years, maybe it's able to be 50, 60, 100. The oldest bottle I tasted was 1920, and it was still very good.
And which one was that?
Vosne-Romanée.
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 A village?
In fact, at this moment, it was not writing everything on the label. So we think it's writing Vosne-Romanée, but it was not. It was so nice.
And how long would you normally age a village?
Normally, we recommend to drink before 10.
Yep.
So the idea is more to be on the fruit than to be on the complex aroma for the village.
And Premier Cru? Premier Cru and Grand Cru?
For Côte de Nuit, Grand Cru, or Premier Cru in Côte de Nuit, it's possible to age as you like. But we recommend, in fact, to buy a case and to drink some and to age maybe one or two, because you have the pleasure to have all the different aroma of the wine with different ages. And if today you don't like the taste of the old wine, maybe tomorrow in 20 years you like that.
And what's your, did you have some favorite food with the different appellations, or?
Of course, we have a perfect pairing for some wine, like Volnay and Vosne-Romanée more with the white meat, like the veal, Nuit Saint-Georges with the red meat, with the beef, Chambol-Musigny with the poultry. But after, it depends the sauce, it depends the guest, it depends the age of the wine, it depends so many things. And it's not only the main food, it's what we serve around the main food. Even the vegetable, even the mushroom, the truffle, because we love truffle, we are truffle producer too. So I know really well the truffle taste to pair with the food. I'm in the country of that. Of course, here you have the salmon. The grilled salmon will be good with red, but perfect with white, like the Saint-Romain, why not? And with Meursault, we like la sole, but I don't know the name in English.
I think it's actually sole, the flat fish.
Yes, the sole flat with butter sole with Meursault is really perfect. And I love the lobster sauce too, with lobster. It's really my favorite plate, and I serve that with a Meursault with 5 years old. It could be possible for that because it's a sauce. When it's more, why not like the clams? You understand? I serve with younger white wine.
And why is the terroir so different in Burgundy?
The more important thing for us maybe is the fault. We have a big fault on the main road, next to the main road, and at this place is a natural limit between the regional and the Premier Cru. So the soil and the subsoil are different between the east than the west. And the more we go on the slope, more we have the stone, and more the soil is lighter with aeration, we can say that, and more the wine will be elegant. But to have the classification Grand Cru is necessary to be often next the valley, the canyon, where the ocean, deposit a lot of sediment, and actually we find the shell, but the stone shell at this place. It was 200 million years ago, so it's really specific soil who will give the specific taste of the Grand Cru. More complex, more long.
But what most of these vineyards, which are Village, Grand Cru and Premier Cru, are all located more or less next to each other. Why do you think some of them are Grand Cru and some of them are Premier Cru? Is that only the soil, microclimate?
I think it's more the soil than the microclimate. We have the same climate everywhere. But the logic of the old person, ancient, when they give the classification, is really just. For example, we imagine between La Romanée Saint-Vivant and Les Échezeaux, we have a vineyard, the name is Les Suchots. At this place is not a Grand Cru, because we are in a hole, and it's a little more humid, more frost, so it's logic to be not a Grand Cru, but it's just between two Grand Cru. But it's not, because it's not the same soil and subsoil. The classification never change, because the soil don't change. Even we don't come to the vineyard with ground. We keep our own ground to put to the top again when we need it after the erosion.
So,
on va faire Skol.
Skol, yes.
We begin the tasting with the Volnay Premier Cru. The 23 is a very nice appellation, a Volnay Premier Cru. For the 23, we can feel the sherry. Really interesting for the sherry taste. And it's a dark color. It was hot in 23, perfect to make wine. And we can imagine we have a full body wine when we drink it.
And quite floral.
Yes,
floral
with the taste of the violet.
And the 23, is that available in the market now, or is it being released?
23 is already available, because when we bottle, it's available. The wine is immediately approachable. After, you do as you like, drink young or older. We feel the vintage, we feel how it's deep, how it's strong. The tannins are present, but not so dry, it's really approachable already.
Yeah, but it's definitely more depth than in 21, for example.
Exactly.
A bit richer and deeper fruit.
The influence of the weather is really important in Bourgogne, because, like I said to you, we are in the northeast. It's not like every year the same like in Mediterranean. Here we have more the influence of the weather. That is really nice to serve this wine with food, with like the veal. You can have veal with mushroom, for example, will be very nice. I think you have some girole. You know what is girole? The mushroom like the girole? The yellow mushroom. Could be very delicate, and with a creamy sauce will be nice.
And also, I think tannin structure is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a wine you can age.
Quite a bit of tannins, but very, very fine grained.
You just open the bottle and you drink.
Yeah, that's the beauty with Burgundy. Let's try the Nuit Saint-Georges.
Alors, we go to Nuit Saint-Georges, and this is the 21. This is Marguerite, was the grandmother of Bernard. And in fact, she planted a lot of our vineyard because it was at the beginning of the last century. She planted the vineyard because we have a lot of vineyard with more than 100 years.
Yeah, some of them are 120 years, you said.
Yeah, even this one is one of our older. And with this one, we make our own greffe. To plant the new vineyard, we take some branches from this vineyard.
Yeah, so you're grafting.
Exactly.
Yes.
And in fact, we see directly the style of the vintage with the color.
Exactly, much lighter.
A little lighter color because it was a little more fresh in summer. We feel really the spice in the wine, even the very, very little smoky.
Yes, I agree.
And I like the pepper inside to serve that with the food, like the meat with the black pepper or even the white pepper. Because with the meat, I serve more with black pepper, and with the fish, I serve white pepper. Because the white pepper is strong without so strong. Black pepper will be more crunchy and more heavy or strongest taste.
Yeah, I agree. And this is much more red, very red fruity, more strawberries than these sherries.
And really more spicy at the end.
And I think for a village, it's a very nice concentration in this one.
But this village is located just in front of the Premier Cru.
Ah, there you go.
It's a good localization anyway. And if you like to age this wine, it's absolutely possible. But we recommend 10, 12 years for this wine. Voilà.
And quite a big jump up to the Grand Cru.
Yes, village to Grand Cru. In fact, Clos de Vougeot have to be strong. It's the first idea you have in the wine when you feel it. Wow, it's strong, it's deep.
Yeah.
And after you feel the little vanilla taste a little, because in fact, it's aging completely in new oak barrel. So because the wine is enough structured to accept that. And when you taste the wine, you have to feel the delicatesse of the wine in the middle. And after the long taste, we say caudally. When we have a long taste, its name is caudally. And for Clos de Vougeot, you have to age without end. Of course, it's a big difference with the Nuit Saint-Georges because the taste will be very, very longer and more deep.
But we already on the color see that we have the bigger depth of the 23 vintage again. And a different depth on the nose, much more, quite spicy. A lot of different spices, almost like a Christmas spices.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like something like cinnamon or something in here.
Exact. Particularly, you are a good tester because I feel that now because I just tasted and I find the cinnamon exactly. That is interesting because when the wine will be completely old, we can say that, we have the taste of the skin of the orange too. And it's like the Christmas spice.
Mm-hmm.
We have that too. And for Clos de Vougeot, it's possible to serve every food. Because in fact, Clos de Vougeot have to be superior than the food. You have to be really deep and long taste.
And wonderful fruit and a really long aftertaste in this one.
That
Very
is
nice
really
concentration.
Exact. La longueur. In French, we say puissance, finesse et longueur.
And do you remember how old the wines are in Clos de Vougeot?
70 to 100, something like that.
So again, very old.
Yes, anyway, we write Vieilleving everywhere because to write Vieilleving normally is 25 years, but for us, all is old. When a plant dies, we change it, we replant, one after one, not all the vineyard in one time. With that, we have 80% very old and 20% with different ages, so it's a very good mix for that.
This is lovely.
So I recommend, if it's possible, to age 2 years more before to drink. But a lot of person drink right now because it's already very good.
Yeah, it is.
For this wine, it could be possible to carafe,
Yes.
to serve in carafe to give more oxygen to the wine.
But I think the tannin structure is very elegant, but it's I would have loved to have it a bit older just because I would love more evolution on the fruit, but I don't think it's necessary if you want to taste it young because it's still gorgeous. I just personally would like more evolution on the fruit, so 5-10 more years.
But it's already approachable.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because we take a lot of care to the grapes, to have the ripe grapes in the winery. We work only by gravity, so without pump, and we work with a pneumatic press, so it's very delicate press. And after we barrel the wine with the system of the gravity again. More you take care about everything, more the wine is approachable, is without defect.
Finish with white, as people do in Burgundy.
Yes. It's completely opposite tasting than a dinner. You understand? When you have a dinner, you follow the food. When you have a tasting, you follow maybe the wine. So we begin with the red wine because the tannins are strongest, and we finish with the wine with the white because it's more delicate. And with Meursault is a nice finishing, because Meursault is a more round taste. So we like to serve the Meursault with the fish, with of course even with foie gras. Meursault and foie gras is maybe not so young, but a little older. It's really fabulous too. And we have the taste of the honey, un petit peu, a little.
Yeah, and apples and white fruits and some pears maybe.
La poire, yes, the pears. I think it's really the pears. If possible, to serve the white wine even with a plate of cheese.
Well, this would go nicely with some comté.
with some comté.
Yeah.
Alors, comté is just next us. In fact, we like a plate of cheese with a dry cheese. One is comté, second is bria savarin,
Oh, yeah.
and the third will be Citeaux, fromage de Citeaux. Citeaux is like a reblochon, but it's really local. This is the cheese from the monks, Abbaye de Citeaux, the Cistercian. It's the monks who planted the vineyard at the Clos de Vougeot more than 900 years ago. Yesterday.
You're making me hungry.
and we continue to work the job of the monks. It's crazy. We are just here for a small times to continue the job. After it will be the next generation.
And there's a nice salinity on the palate.
Yes, but if you like to age 1 or 2 years more, it's possible too for this wine, will be a little more round. It's still fresh. We have different style of Meursault. This one will be more buttery in 1 or 2 years. We are in the middle of Meursault. At this place, it's a place to have wine with the both. It's possible to feel a little the stone. Like you feel the minerality too a little?
Yes.
And it's possible to feel the round taste too. Younger, maybe mineral, a little older, more round.
Yeah, you have like a small chalky note, but with that salinity on top of it. Very elegant. Wine without food is as good as wine with food, I think.
Voilà, so I think you have a good view about us.
Yeah.
And I hope you come to visit us in Bourgogne. It's possible to visit the winery directly. You arrive, you call us or you send an email and you come to visit us. It's a pleasure.
Perfect.
To show our job.
And you just opened a wine shop as well in one?
Yes, we have 2 places to sell the wine. So one place directly at the winery, and the second is the center of the village, because not everybody go to the winery. So the people go to the center of the village, and now we open a little shop, very nice, with our wine, and it's possible to see the painting of my sister-in-law, and we have a very nice place for that, and the first level with a view of Romanée Conti vineyard.
Could be worse.
Voilà. And it's possible to drink wine in the cellar too, so it's a nice place next to the church of Vosne-Romanée. La boutique Bernard Rion.
Perfect.